last thing, and a really important thing, is that we will create a joyful, welcoming atmosphere in the church. I like 1 Thessalonians 5:16, which says, be joyful, how often? Always. Pray continually. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Jesus Christ. It is so important when people come to the house of God that there be a spirit of joy that permeates the place. It's not Comedy Central, but it's just a spirit. This is a place where the Spirit of the Lord is. And when the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom and there is joy. Jesus said, my joy I leave with you. Minirth and Meyer wrote a book a while back called Happiness is a Choice. And I believe that, don't you? You choose to be an upbeat, powerful, positive person and lift other people up, or you choose to be miserable and drag other people down. I read a book a while back called, I'll tell you what it is in just a second. I can't remember. Chicken Soup for the Soul at Work by Jack Canfield. And he said he met a restaurant owner named Jerry, who was the most joyful, positive person he'd ever met. He said, every time you meet him, he said, Jerry, how you doing? He said, doing great. They better be twins. Doing wonderful. They better be twins. He said, one day he took me aside, hey, Jerry, what's the secret of your happiness and your joy? He said, that's easy. I just choose to be joyful every day. No, it's got to be deeper than that. No, he said, every morning when I wake up, I say, this is the day the Lord has made. I can be miserable and ruin the day and waste it, or I can be joyful and say, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and give thanks in it. And be glad in it. Well, one day, Jerry's restaurant got broken into, and the thief at the end panicked and shot and wounded him. And Jerry said, there I found myself on the floor in a pool of my own blood, my life ebbing away from me. And as I lay there, I thought to myself, I can choose to live or I can choose to die. I choose to live. He said when the EMS workers came, I could tell by their comments they didn't think I was going to live. But when I would get to the emergency room, I was still conscious. But I could tell by the expression of the faces on the doctors and the nurses, they didn't think I was going to live. But he said a big burly nurse bent over me and she said, are you allergic to anything? And with a raspy voice I said, yes. And when I did, the whole ER room stopped to hear what it was. She said, what are you allergic to? And I said, bullets. And with that, everybody burst out laughing. And she said, is there anything else? And I said, yes, I choose to live, not to die. Please operate on me as though I'm going to live. He said the whole energy in the room, level in the room picked up. 6 weeks later, Canfield says, I saw Jerry in the restaurant. I said, Jerry, how you doing? He's doing great. They better be twins. You can choose, regardless of what's going on in your church or your personal life, to be joyful or to be miserable. And let me remind you something. Nobody wants to be around a whiner. We never say after church, let's go over to Bill's house. I just love to hear him brag. Don't you? Let's go hear him brag. You're drawn by somebody who is upbeat and positive. And people in the church need to be, especially leaders, need to be reminded of the importance of joy in the church. So get happy. If you can't get happy, act happy. Fake it until you make it. William James said to be the father of modern psychology, and he said a lot of goofy things, but he said one thing I really like. He said, if you act the way you wish you felt, you'll eventually feel the way you act. That's true. You know what? It's a lot easier to act yourself in the way of feeling than to feel yourself in the way of acting. And that's not hypocrisy. You know, the world is driven by emotion. The world says, if it feels good, do it. Follow your heart. If that girl in Argentina is your soulmate and the chemistry flow, you better follow her. Doesn't matter about your family. But the Bible says, abstain from the evil desires of war against your soul. And Solomon said, here's the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God, keep His commandments. This is the duty of man. Sometimes you just got to do your duty, whether you feel like it or not. And it's your duty when you come to church to be joyful, regardless of what's going on. Jesus said, when you fast, don't let the world know you're fasting. Wash your face, comb your hair, put on the cheerful countenance of the world. And your Father who sees what's done in secret will reward you openly. If I would have done just what I felt like doing in ministry, I would have never lasted 40 years at the same place. Because there were sometimes I didn't feel like going to church. I felt like Well, I woke up on Sunday mornings, picking up the phone beside the bed and calling the associate minister, Dave Stone, and said, "You always want a chance to preach more? You got your chance in about an hour." Good luck. Boom. No, I never did. You know why? Because I'm commanded in Scripture, don't forsake the assembling of yourselves together. So it's my duty to go to church. And when I go to church on those days, I don't feel like being nice to people. Just go sit in the office and wait till the service starts. But I go ahead and shake hands and smile because I'm commanded in Scripture, be kind one to another. It's not an option, it's a duty. And then they start singing. I don't feel like singing. I've heard those songs so many times. But I'm commanded in Scripture, make a joyful noise, Lord. So I go ahead and sing. And those days I don't feel like preaching. Just once I would have liked to have gotten in the pulpit and looked back at some people the way they looked at me for 40 years. But I never did because I'm commanded in Scripture. Preach the word in season, out of season. It's my duty. And you know what I found out? If I go to church when I don't feel like it, and sing and greet people when I don't feel like it, and preach when I don't feel like it, by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I feel a whole lot better than if I'd stayed in bed. If you act the way you wish you felt, you'll let you feel the way you act. Don't let the world know you're fasting, put on a cheerful countenance to the world. I challenge you to get happy, to be joyful when you come to church. And that attitude permeates the whole church. We have in a movement, Mike knows Ben Merrill. And Ben Merrill was preaching at a church in California, was just really growing. And our convention was in California. And I said to a friend, let's go to Ben's church to find out why they're growing like they're growing. Well, there's so many visitors from the convention that the first service went 20 minutes long, and the second service started like 15 minutes late. And I thought as a young preacher, man, if I were Ben Merrill, I'd really be nervous about starting late. I'd say, well, we're going to cut a couple of songs, and I'm going to abbreviate my sermon, and we'll get you out on time. But Ben came out on the platform with a big smile and says, good to have you here today. You know why we're starting 20 minutes late? We had so many visitors last hour, and we had 12 baptisms. Could you think of a better reason to start late, 12 baptisms at 5 o'clock? He said, now, folks, I'm going to remind you, nothing you're going to do this week is going to be more important than what you do the next hour worshiping God. There's nothing more important than that. So we're not going to shortchange you. These are wonderful songs. We're going to sing them all. And when I preach, I'm going to dump the whole load on you because some of you here need it. And normally we introduce all of our visitors one by one, but we got so how many visitors we had? A bunch of people raising, oh, let's do it anyway. If you're a visitor, stand up. And you know what? The whole mood of the congregation shifted. Everybody settled down and had a joyful experience. And I learned something that day. The mood of the leader is the mood of the team. The mood of the minister is contagious in the church. The amazing thing about Ben Merrill is, he had 3 children. 2 boys walked with the Lord. One of his sons was a rebel from birth and had been arrested for drugs and in prison just a few weeks before that. But this is a guy who walks out full of joy. Be joyful always. I say it again, rejoice. Make your churches, not churches that are just looking backward, but look ahead. So many people lost out there without Christ who need what you have in Christ. Just take that Bible and teach it, preach it. But we won't change your methods. I'm going to talk in a session later in one of the workshops about why that's hard to do. But we won't change methods. Do things with excellence and do it in a spirit of joy. And you know what? Your church will be so attractive you can't keep people away. People are going to go out and say, come and see. Come and see.